Yo, what's good, y'all? Big Champ, me and Steve right here on Doc Connect Wednesdays. We on a Thursday special edition. So we're gonna jump right into it. Can you guys see my screen right now?
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Yes, sir.
I bet. So the first thing I want to start with, so I tell y'all this countless times, right? Bitcoin and ETH, and this is Steve's tagline, right? We're gonna run with this, right? This is it because this is jarring. Bitcoin and ETH are the new meme coins. You know, the world is not going to be really ready to receive that, and they're going to be in an uproar behind this. But we're going to tell you why. I know I've shared this countless times on the side of ETH and Bit and what's going on with them. But we're gonna put this on record and let this live. So you know when it happens and it manifests, you guys are already had a front row seat and you already know what's to come. All right, so first things first is Ethereum. So with Ethereum, you know, Ethereum runs on a consensus mechanism. Bitcoin and Ethereum, both of them. The consensus mechanism that they're currently both on is proof of work. All of you guys that's been here, you know, proof of work involves miners, nodes, clunky hardware that's expensive, ASICs, mining chips, all of that good stuff, right? And these guys use this hardware to solve complex algorithms, and they're incentivized, and then they're able to verify transactions, validate them, and add them to the blockchain, right? And in the boot camp, all y'all who took the boot camp, y'all know how we give it up. Yeah, we explain that whole process. It takes up a lot of energy, and it is not sustainable. So the biggest part of this all is everyone thinks, okay, Ethereum and Bitcoin are on proof of work, and Ethereum is getting ready to do a merge and go over to proof of stake. So that's the cool part. You would think in your head, all right, this is going to help solve the problem when it comes to fees. This is going to help solve the problem with using a whole bunch of energy. This is going to make the transactions faster, so forth and so on. And I'm going to dispel every single one of them. I just put a video out. I think it was yesterday. I recorded it a couple of days ago, but yesterday I released a video and put it on our Instagram, right? My personal page, Steve shared it, and it's on the Skype page. We want you guys to make sure your notifications are turned on, because sometimes when we bomb on y'all and we add it to the Discord, sometimes y'all don't get it, right? So I want you guys to get this stuff in real time. So everybody who's on social, if you're on the socials and you're following the pages, make sure you turn those notifications on so you stay abreast in real time. But one of the main things about that ETH merge, it is definitely not going to help. So first things first, they say the fees are going to change. This is incorrect. And this is false. Definitively. The change is just a change of consensus mechanism. It is not an expansion of network capabilities and is going to remain on the same layer one, which means the transactions will not be cheaper. You still will have to be understanding and knowledgeable that all of the fees that are associated with a transaction are determined by the amount of activity going on the blockchain at that time, right? So if let's say right now it's Thursday, 12 o'clock. Right now, this is midday. So there may be a lot of activity that's going on the Ethereum blockchain. So a lot of transactions, a lot of people transacting ERC20 coins and all that good stuff. If there's a lot of people on the network at that time, that means it's a lot of congestion. These transactions are done by miners and people who run nodes. So these people have to manually verify your transactions, authenticate them to allow them to be added to the blockchain. So the more people that's on there means the more transactions. The more transactions is the more activity. So this is when you start to see a backlog of transactions that need to be verified. If you have a backlog, this means that everybody is waiting for a transaction to go through, which means your transaction speeds are a lot slower. Ethereum did not scale. They didn't think this through, right? for all of these projects to be, a lot of these projects to be built on top of the Ethereum platform, they aren't ready for scale because that consensus mechanism is horrible, right? This shows you in real life the downfall, because the way it's set up, you don't know what your fees are going to cost. The fees are always high because these guys have to validate your transactions, right? So they're able to charge higher fees for your transaction to go through, right? And this is where the gas fees or GUI comes in. So if you don't know what your transaction is ever going to be, you're just going to continuously have to use the network and be basically at the will of however many people are submitting transactions at the same time. That's horrible. And you got to think, again, we're only at 4% of the global population being invested. So when people are using this platform, imagine when it's 90%. Imagine when it's 50%. The transaction fees right now sometimes are actually higher than the amount that you're trying to send. I was paying fees for something, and the fee itself was about $150. The transaction was only $15. So that's not sustainable. That's one thing. Second of all, I want to bring this in. This is why I wanted to share the screen. I want you guys to see this. So, well, you know what? Hold off. So, point 2. Everyone thinks that with the new merge, you'll be able to pull off your staked ETH. This is another misconception. People who are investing right now and they're staking their Ethereum for this merge, expecting a big price boom. Here's the thing. All of those people will not be able to unstake after the merge. The merge is supposed to happen in the next, I want to say 20, 30 days. It should be 100% implemented, right? But the problem is, this is where the whales come in. When you're moving from proof of work to proof of stake just basically means the people who have the most of the coins have the biggest voice. They have the biggest say-so, right? This leads to manipulation. So this basically means whoever is the biggest bag holder has the biggest say-so, right? And then now I'm going to bring you to this. You can look on my screen. It says JP Morgan owns critical Ethereum infrastructure. Just so you guys don't think I'm just pulling this out of my brain, right? So I want you guys to check this out. So there was a project. It was called Project North Star. And this was done by Consensus Software Incorporated. You guys are going to learn this when we go into the 1% talk. So JP Morgan owns CSI, which is the single provider that operates Infura. And this is dependent upon the Amazon cloud servers. So there's only 2 main pieces of Ethereum infrastructure, MetaMask and Infura, right? CSI, which is 1/2 of the major infrastructure, is owned by JP Morgan. JP Morgan has a significant stake in Ethereum. So if you've only got 2 major parts, half of it is owned by JP Morgan. JP Morgan, we know, is a huge institution. These guys have a huge war chest to be able to buy and basically steal the foundation of certain things, right? One of the main players of Consensus is Joe Lubin. He's an Ethereum billionaire, and he's the Consensus chief, right? He's the big dog. So now think about this. If moving from proof of work into proof of stake tells you that the biggest bag holder has the biggest voice, and I just told you that JP Morgan owns a significant stake in Ethereum infrastructure, they own half of it. That tells you right there that it is going to be centralized, right? Because you got one player who owns a ton of it. They actually own the infrastructure behind it. 2, JP Morgan, whatever they say, is now going to be almost law because they own the infrastructure. So now if you got JP Morgan who owns the infrastructure, whatever they say is basically going to go, because that's what happens on proof of stake. And this is what a lot of people miss. They don't understand that. So I just wanted to break that down and let that live. When this merge comes, it is not going to make your transactions faster, cheaper, more scalable, more efficient, any of it. And they say that that is going to be the case. That remains to be seen. We've all been waiting for this Ethereum 2.0 for years. And now that it's finally here, it's still chinks in the armor because of the mechanism itself, the consensus mechanism behind it. So just understand that that's out the window right now. Part two. We're gonna move to, you want to touch on this?
Before you go to two, right? So I'm gonna keep it real simple with you guys, right? When the internet first came out, there was a ton of tech companies that were early adopters in releasing technology, right? If you didn't understand the technology fully, the way that Champ's connecting the dots for you now, you probably would have thought Netscape and AOL were going to be, the future of the internet. Where are they today? Right? So everybody who's an early adopter, I don't care what network or what sector of business that you're in, when you're an early adopter, you are who they consider you're trailing. You own the trail. You're a trailblazer, right? So with that comes problems, because as the adoption starts to come in, you start realizing that there's certain parts of your business that need to be fine-tuned. We're talking about a piece of technology that was created, prior to Champ and I even getting into crypto. It is a dinosaur at this point compared to when we give you HBAR. There's a reason why we give you that consensus mechanism, right? It's going to solve the problems that this company has. The reason that JP jumped on board is FOMO. You understand? When these guys, you listen to them in the last 5-6 years, when they started to talk, they were like, listen, we're looking to invest in infrastructure. And I tell you guys, that's where you go first. Layer ones, right? And I compared it to real estate. If you were to, what's the most valuable piece of real estate right now? It's land. It's always going to be, you own the, you own the air rights, you own the mineral rights, and it doesn't matter what you put on top of it, right? That's not what we're talking about. You can improve it and build on top of it, but he who owns land owns, it controls everything at this point. So what you're seeing right now with this ETH situation, is nothing more than an institution that bullied their way into the board. You understand? So JP is just really hedging at this point, because the real company that they wanted to do this with, which is XRP, didn't allow them to come in for this control, because XRP is going to be decentralized, right? Ripple is going to be centralized. You understand? So they have something for everybody. And that's the genius behind what they created. On top of their system just being, it's way more advanced than what ETH created. So like Champ said, again, if we know that 99% of projects are going to die, even if you bring 99% more projects on top of this platform, I could tell you that when Doge and Shiba Inu and all these guys were pumping, it was the worst thing that happened to the ETH network at the time. It cost so much money just to train. Even if you weren't involved in any of those projects, it was affecting your project. You understand? So we're just telling you that when you guys start to see JP Morgan, and then, JP Morgan owns, if you look at the chart, they own everything, right? So of course they're going to get the word out. Would they be doing you? When was the last time you tell me this? So you're telling me an institutional fund or company, these are one of the 4 founding fathers of finance in the world, right? America predominantly. So they're doing us a favor by giving us this information early? Or do you think that they just want to hype this shit up? And I'm not saying that the company's not going to be around. I'm just going to say that this shit is AOL and Netscape to me all over again. And this is why we brought you guys on at Dot Connectors, to start to understand, right? And do your own research. Go do a transaction right now with ETH and try to send ERC20 to any wallet address, and just look at the fee on there. On KuCoin, it's $25. It doesn't matter what you send. And that's just the fee for leaving. You still have a receiving end fee. You understand what I'm saying? So Champ, his words are eloquent, but this shit is trash. That's really what he's telling you, but we have to give it to you the right way.
Right.
This shit is trash, but the news will run it up. You understand? And most people are going to follow those green candles. Most people are going to start staking. You're done. You're done. I'm not saying to not invest in it, because you could probably definitely catch a wave on this. But to be honest with you, I don't even know if the shit even crosses over and implements correctly. It's failed so many times right when we got to this point here. The only difference now is JP's name is thrown in the hat.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't it, guys. They will probably create an ecosystem around this, right? Because they talked about removing meme coins and things like that. So now you're talking about something that was supposed to be decentralized, right? Just to be able to build on this network. Now they're going to pick and choose who they want on there. And that's going to be their best bet, to be honest with you. That's their best bet, to lock this shit up and just make it centralized, because that's all it is at the end of the day. But then when you do that, what happens? JP Morgan Chase can now, if a project is not in their best interest, or it is a direct competitor to something else that they invested in, you will not live on that platform. So me as a developer, right, or as a person who's been in crypto for a while that can see it for what it is, I would urge all developers to rethink doing business with ETH. I'm
Without
done.
a shadow of a doubt.
I'm done. This shit dumb. Y'all know what it is, man.
Word. And just so we clear, like, I wanted to pull this up so you guys could see it. Like, this is from Ethereum. This is on ethereum.org, right? You see this, the website here. This tells you in the misconception section about the merge. It tells you the merge will reduce gas fees. False. The merge is a change of consensus mechanism and it is not an expansion in the network capacity and will not result in lower gas fees. So the problem still remains, right? Boom. Transactions will be noticeably faster on after the merge. False. There's going to be some changes that exist, and they're going to be slight changes. Transaction speeds are still going to be on the same layer 1, which means they will not be on a faster process on a layer 2, right? It's still going to be on the same layer. The only thing that's changing is they're going from one consensus mechanism, which is proof of work, into the next, which is proof of stake. That's it. And then it says when withdrawals are enabled, the people who staked, you know what I mean, anticipating this price boom, right? Staked ETH, they'll be able to withdraw. It says false. Validators exist at a rate limited for security reasons, and everyone will not be able to remove or unstake, period, until the Shanghai update. You know when that comes out? 6 to 12 months after. That's it. It says it right here. I can click more and show you guys. 6 to 12 months following the merge. So just so you guys understand and kind of have the gist of it all, it's like when these big whales come in, these whales are able to stake their money and leave their money staked. Big chunks of their holdings, they can stake it and leave it, right? Because they're liquid. They have enough money to be able to still operate, make more money, even stake more, right? And I told you guys, the more you have the more you have basically invested, which means you have the biggest voice. So this is mostly for whales. When you're moving from one mechanism to the next, proof of stake is all and only about who has the biggest bag. So that's JP Morgan. So now JP Morgan will have the capacity to be able to manipulate transactions, not add them in the correct order, or not add them to the blockchain at all, right? That's why we tell you guys about centralization and decentralization, right? That's not fair. That's how you manipulate things. That's how you screw and contort transactions so that everyday users, me and you, the retail guys, we will be able to literally look at the transactions on a blockchain, see what's going on, know what people are doing. But if you have this and you have JP Morgan, who owns it, coming in, manipulating transactions, not adding them to the blockchain. So now you have secret transactions that can occur and nobody can see them but the parties that's invested in them. That is centralization. That is manipulation. That is not what cryptocurrency and blockchain technology was created for. Period. Right. So now this should just open up your brain to click the light bulb to say, wow, now I see this whole time everybody that I come across is pushing Bitcoin and ETH. But I'm showing you in real time, and we've been telling you consistently over and over why that's a problem, because you're turning on the TV and you're easily swayed by the people who are telling you to put your money in Bitcoin and ETH. And that's not fair to you. That's wrong. Period. And there's so many projects that are built on top of Ethereum, right? Ethereum's claim to fame was smart contracts. But I can tell you that smart contracts do not only exist with ETH. Smart contracts are now on the XRP ledger through Ripple Labs' creation of hooks and bridges. So now I'm going to show you guys something that's super dope. So Steve brought this up on a call with Radical Mentorship we just had the other day, right? He's talking about how the world is transitioning, and I always tell you guys about the tokenization of real estate, right? So Proppy is basically a company that is going to allow innovation through the tokenization of real estate, and it turns basically buying a home, selling a home, renting a home, all of that stuff can be done through an NFT. You list your property as an NFT, and it shows up on the MLS and all of that, right? This is what we're talking about. This is innovation right here. Because what people fail to realize is the world is literally changing. We're telling you, and this is proof, right? This is more validation of everything that we told you. So if you was part of the university, this none of this should come to a surprise to you. At this point, it should just be like, wow, that's dope. They've been said that. So if we're talking about the traditional system, right? Everything is debt-based, right? The debt creates the ability to print more dollars, right? For every dollar of debt, for every debt that's entered, you're able to print a certain amount of dollars that comes with it, right? And it's actually more than the debt itself. So literally for every dollar of debt that you get into, you sign your signature for, or you take credit out or whatever the case is, they're able to print additional dollars, right? I think it's like for every dollar of debt, it's $5 of fiat currency that's created. It's something like that. I forgot what the conversion was. But long story short, you kind of see the condition that the world is in right now, especially the US, is because everything is debt-based. Now you have the world about to transition into asset-backed, asset-based. That's why when we tell you guys about digital assets, they're going to start backing it with gold. And you're starting to see this with Russia and China with their mirror currency, MIR. BRICS nations, they're backing each one of these countries are backing their currencies with gold to give it value. And they're literally sidestepping sanctions. Their money is valued higher now. So with the US has to begin its transition, right? If we're in severe, we're already in a recession right now. They're just playing games with you, not trying to tell you the obvious, right? You see, we had inflation, we had almost hyperinflation. Here we are, right? Recession time. And people are really going to start feeling it. But what's going to happen is once they formally announce it, then you're going to truly feel it, because then we have social media. So now you're able to get bombarded, right, with so much information. And we have social media, we have so many outlets where this information is going to come to you, and it's going to make it feel worse than what it truly is, right? But it's going to get bad, so understand that. But when we go from the old traditional way that we transact and we handle things in the real world to this digital side, this right here is the innovation that we've been telling you guys about. We've been warning you guys about for ages. If you're able to go from a debt-based system now to an asset-backed system, everybody who owns something, right, even the tangible property that you can touch, the homes, you're able to tokenize them and sell them to someone across the world, right, in a whole nother country. and you can start and finish this transaction super fast. You don't have to wait, 60 days, 30 days to close. And Steve is on a call, so he can validate this. Like when you're going to close, anybody who knows the whole home buying process, it takes a amount of time to close before you can formally close, right? With this, being able to tokenize things, put them on the blockchain and transact them, this is the game changer. Because this makes your transactions faster, simpler, and safer. And everybody can see it. Both parties can see it. So Proppy, I just want you guys just to kind of edify yourselves. I want you guys to take the time and just go to proppy.com and actually start, just start looking, start, being abreast of what's going on around you, because you guys are early. The rest of a lot of the world doesn't even know what's happening right now. They're consumed with the bullshit. They're still tripping on monkey faces and rocks. But real NFTs, I told you guys, they disappeared. Steve always said the NFT space is a bubble and is going to burst. So now that the hype died down, everybody thinks that NFTs just is over with. But that's not the case. The bullshit that they use to kind of get everybody's attention has now subsided. It's now out the way. But the technology behind it, which was the smart contracts, the ability to do the most so efficiently and so effectively, now you can do this faster and transact it on a ledger. And I want to take you guys somewhere else. So check this out. All right, so the world's first real estate NFT. So it's a TechCrunch founder. His name is Michael Arrington. He sold the world's first NFT home for 36 ETH. It had 43 bids, and he sold it for $93,429. Right? Now think about this. Everything was kind of contingent with these NFTs on ETH's existence. Now that you can kind of see how, and I'm not saying ETH is just going to completely disappear, right? But I just want you guys to think about certain things. There's a ton of projects built on ETH, and ETH itself is most known because it had smart contracts and people were able to transact and implement this smart contract in NFTs. So it had a lot of volume. Everything was mostly on OpenSea, right? Because that's where, and that's backed by ETH. They only use ETH. So that was the main claim to fame with Ethereum, right? That helped with this growth, with this notoriety and people utilizing that protocol, that platform. But now you've got, boom, ta-da. Been telling y'all, Ripple is a monster. Ripple was not playing. And this news came out in 2017. This insight right here is just from July 6th. But in 2017, I watched the video yesterday. I'll provide it to you guys after the call so you guys can actually watch it. Brad Garlinghouse was sitting on a panel and he was being interviewed. And he basically, as we all know, Ripple, their niche is cross-border payments and remittances. They also do a multitude of things. This adds to their use case. But in 2017, Brad Garlinghouse didn't want to reveal this, right? So I'm telling you guys, 3 years ago, before this was made public information, he was basically saying, hey, we are going to identify everywhere where there's a congestion or there's inefficiencies in how you transact when it comes to anything of value or anything of money or anything of value. We're going to identify it and we're going to be the resolve for it. That's always what Ripple has done, and that is what they will continue to do. This is what separates them from the rest of everyone else in the cryptocurrency space. They see an issue, become the resolve. They provide the resolve. So when you solve real world problems, this is what we say by utility. Ripple said, you know what? There's no reason why ETH should be the only place that has a whole ecosystem for NFTs. So then you started to see Solana, you started to see some of these other projects come out with it, but it proved to be inefficient and ineffective because Solana had 9 network outages in the span of, I think it was 2 months, 3 months, 9 times. These companies, they can have great projects, but they're not built for scale. Now think about this. Since inception, Ripple has utilized the XRP ledger. The XRP ledger has had 0 downtime, 100% transaction efficacy rate, and basically they had no failed transactions, right? That's just in layman's terms. And now they're telling you 3 years later, after they were already in the works with this, they just didn't want to let the cat out the bag. They're telling you now we have XLS20. XLS20 is going to be how you transact NFTs on the XRP ledger. So now we're talking about ETH fees. That transaction of 36 ETH, I can only imagine what the fees were. If it was 93,000 in a transaction, the fees had to be over. I want to say, even at the low end, I would say probably $1,000, $2,000, just for fees. Now, if you were using something on the XRP ledger, Steve on a previous call, he showed you guys using the XRP ledger that they transacted $60 billion on the XRP ledger. It took 3 seconds for the transaction to go through and be finalized, and it cost less than 1 XRP. To be exact, I think it was like 0.000000. It was like the equivalent of 10 drops. So I want you guys to understand that the world is literally changing, and we tell you guys all the time about innovative companies that are coming in and they're able to provide services to the world through innovation that makes things more efficient, more scalable, easier to use, cheaper, right? This makes you want to use them. This generates demand, but we're talking about on a global scale. If they're doing this right now while we're at 4%, imagine what's to come when all things of value are able to be transacted on the XRP ledger. It's decentralized. Nobody can control it. Ripple doesn't even control it. It's decentralized, so anybody can build on top of it. Now think about that. If you have ETH and you have transaction fees that are super high, and we tell you guys the crash is coming, the black swan is going to happen, people are steering away from centralization. They want decentralization. If anybody can build on this, and they're showing you in real time, we do this better, faster than anybody else, what makes you think when the crash happens and a lot of these projects that are on ERC20, Ethereum has to get taken into litigation? Because they're on record many times saying that we started with an ICO.
Yeah, listen, let's just let the focus be on what it is, right? Because I think they get the gist of it, right? What Champ is leaving out right now, and not on purpose, just the latter part of this conversation, it's not about money, right? It's the technology. That ledger is not just solely about money, right? And I'm gonna play a clip, and then you just listen to the CEO of Ripple and what he said, and then we'll break it down for you. Just let me know if you can hear this.
You mentioned there are other potential applications of Ripple's technology beyond cross-border payments. What are some of those applications and use cases that you're exploring?
The way I think about this is any transaction that has a middleman, any transaction that requires someone to kind of commute the trust between the transaction, security settlement, insurance settlements. There are a lot of transactions out there that have a lot of friction.
You guys heard that?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, so when you're dealing with, it's frictionless. You understand? This is what society needed. So think about it. So he said the insurance industry, right? Death upon receipt. You understand? So you have to prove that somebody passed away, and then they go through this system, and then somebody releases the funds to you, right? This technology is built for this, guys. You understand? The same insurance claims, car insurance, any sort of claim, anything that requires, like he said, a middleman to do a transaction will be put on a ledger. I'm not saying it's the XRP ledger, right? I'm just telling you that the future of business And if innovation is what we're built on, and we've seen what the internet has done to us in the last couple decades, right? You got to know that there still are some flaws. Like, why does it take 40, 50 days or 60 days to close a house? 30 days on average, right? It's because there's so many hands in the pot, right? You got to call down to this building department. Then, then they have to give you the tax cert. Then you got to order a water cert. Then you got to, this shit is nonsense, guys. All that stuff is real-time situations. What delays it is the people sitting inside the office. They're backlogged. You understand? It's an inefficient system. All of it. I'm telling you, anything that somebody hands you is going to be on this blockchain, period. And we know it's flawed. And then just think about all the bad actors in certain friction transactions and what they do to you. You get what I'm saying? So you see how much bigger this is? That's why I tell you guys, drop the currency part. They just trying to confuse y'all with this shit. You understand? You guys are holding on to the wrong thing. You don't understand how the US dollar works, so you're definitely not going to understand how the digital dollar works. Yo, I'm getting tired, man. I just need this shit to like really hit ahead. And at this point, I don't even care. Right? I don't care to be yelling and screaming and trying to state my case with people, man. It's draining. You either in or you not, right? Mm-hmm. And when it hits, we either look like geniuses or we got egg on our face. But not the latter.
Not the latter.
Because I'm telling you, it's not difficult. Champ is laying this shit out like nobody's business. It's here. You guys could all do the same thing. We just got to get to this 1% because I'm tired of just like the take your shit off the exchanges. It's too basic.
Mm-hmm.
We told you guys this shit already. Listen, and if you're holding stablecoin on the exchanges, don't think you're doing yourself a favor either. Pay the fee. Stop going to Coinbase. Mm-hmm. They're going to charge you to take it off, to bring it to your ledger. You're going to hold it probably for 7 days before you can do that, or maybe 10. I don't know. Whatever. What's going to stop Coinbase from saying, 40 days to clear a transaction? They are going to impede on how we invest in this market. Stop playing with those guys. Mm-hmm. JP and them do not want this in everybody's hands, but they want to condition you to think Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Do you hear how dumb this shit sounds? They're not doing us no favor, guys. They're not doing us a favor because we had a call the other day and I told everybody at the start of the call, I said, look, if it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, hang up and just keep buying that shit. Keep dollar cost averaging in, because it's not like all of us could afford 21K right now or 1,600, whatever the present price is. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that these things aren't going to run up. I'm just telling you that the guys that are controlling those two coins will do whatever it takes to take your money, because when you buy, they sell. When they buy, right, it runs up, you come in, you buy, they sell. And then you're just going to get this price volatility in the market, and you're never going to be able to catch it properly. Mm-hmm. You're not investing in no damn case use with Bitcoin. You know that shit for a fact. There is none.
It does nothing. And
you're not investing in a proper case use. If you're telling me in the comments, people in our group are saying no one else is telling them about how flawed this consensus mechanism is. These are crypto guys. Why do you think they're not telling you that? Because they're not paying attention. They're not really crypto guys. There's been a bunch of people that just started crypto when the wave started. Right? I'm not trying to discredit anybody, but if you have been in this, there's something called time and market. You start to understand. And then the other part that you can't even give these guys is they ain't fucking thinkers. They are not high level thinkers, guys. It's just whatever somebody says, they grab that soundbite. What they're great at doing is promoting themselves on the internet. Mm-hmm. I'm still trying to figure out reels and all this other shit. But while they doing the reels, we're really reeling off real information to you guys. And then they just let us know, does this shit make sense or not? You see it. You actually transact. So all the people that tell you Bitcoin and Ethereum, what are they transacting at this point now? What have they bought and sold? They know how inefficient this is. Even with the Tron network just being built, was a savior. Mm-hmm. So it's like people are building on ETH, and they have their own little subculture, which could possibly happen. But I'm telling you that if it's not in the best interest of the elephant in the room, which is JP Morgan, you will have your shit taken offline. Or what they would do is they would come in and they would make you an offer that you can't refuse. And not saying they're going to give you the best money for it. They're just going to tell you, well, if you don't do this, then you're not going to get through regulations. I mean, who do you think control the regulations? Crypto does not have any real lobbyists out there with money.
Yeah.
The lobbyists are the guys that you're seeing, the Vanguards, the JPs, those are the lobbyists. And who are they going to lobby for?
Yeah.
They're going to lobby for what is in their best interest. Yo, that 1% investment is beyond what you could imagine. I'm telling you. It's beyond what you could imagine. XRP and Ripple, they do not need influencers. These projects that we're going to tell you about, they don't need influencers. Why? Because they're just hard at work, just putting it together. So the influencer has to explain to the public what the project does. That's what you're telling me? Oh, but they forgot to tell you that what Champ just read down to you. They left that out of it. But they got everybody lining up. Y'all ready to stake. We told y'all about that shit. They're going to lock your shit up. They're going to take the shit from you.
And it's happening nonstop. More exchanges. People still doing it. No matter how many times you say it, people still, I heard about this. Yeah, I could get 60 APY. I could get 59 APY. I could get 500 APY. And then as soon as that company gets deemed insolvent or they don't have the money to continue operating, it's your money that they get to keep. The retail investors, they are protected. They already got insurance, but you, the everyday person, the everyday investor, your money literally gets locked up and it's in the fine print. It tells you in the terms and conditions that we can keep your money legally in the event that we file for bankruptcy. That's what being insolvent is, not having the money.
Listen, the more time we spend on this, the less time we figure out how to position ourselves in this space. You see where I'm going with this? So if only 4% of the world population is in this, we know that they're going to try to get damn near 99% of the world population on this system at some point in the next 10 years, right? So if we've already advanced the way we think, right? All right, the do's and don'ts, got it, Stephen Champ. Okay, what's next? What's next is how you position yourself to be in the right projects as early investors. And then you lock those away, you follow the project. Okay, what's next after that? Now, once you get a good grasp on the industry as a whole, you start to say, all right, okay, how's this going to affect the industry I'm in? Or where I feel things are going? Where is there a lane that we can carve out a niche and create a product to add to it? Can I be a consultant and make hundreds of thousands when companies call me? Companies don't know what's about to happen with this ETH situation. They're just going to get into a bad deal the same way that they got into a bad deal with Netscape and AOL and all these other ones. You know, the technology is just, and this technology is not even far advanced either. It's archaic. You know, I can give credit where credit is due. So when we call out HBAR, it's just like, yo, this shit is far advanced. We have to wait for adoption to catch up to it. Start looking at the industry like that. You upgrade, you're updating. You're doing an update. All right. And then you're not solving the key problems that you had, but only somebody that's been in crypto understands what the key problems are. So let it get updated. And Champ and I definitely give you our update on it. Let it go live. I'm telling you guys, go do a transaction right now. Act like you're going to go send money somewhere. It's going to tell you what the fee is on KuCoin. Take a snapshot of that. Hold it inside a folder in your phone. And then once this thing launches, go back again, do the same exact transaction, take a snapshot of that shit, and then put them side by side with each other. I really can't compete with guys that have 2, 3, 4, 5 million followers and big influence. You cannot compete with that shit like that. But where those guys are needed in the ecosystem is they're the ones that are to deliver the news to us, as basic as it is. They get paid for this, guys. So we have no interest in it. I used to hold ETH. I'm thinking about picking some more back up. So it's not even one of those things where it's like, oh, I hate the project. I see it for what it is. It would only pump if they could set it off the right way. But even all developers on that platform know that this ain't the wave. But what happened is they spent so much time and money building out their infrastructure. And I don't know if they're working with the XRP ledger right now. right? But any new project, you might want to take a look at the whole situation. But once JP's name is stamped on it, that bought them a lot of time, guys. That company's not even supposed to be around right now. Period. Yeah, keep dollar cost averaging in. I mean, they've programmed and trained us to buy Bitcoin and buy ETH. They told us to mortgage our homes for Bitcoin. These guys sound desperate.
Crazy.
It will run up, but when does it run down? Because when if you bought it at 60, 70 at the height, where are you at today? And then when it shoots to 100, you think you're gonna catch that shit in time? No, you already on that train. They're gonna tell you, oh, it's gonna go to 450. I heard $1 million out there. I will not doubt when the Saudis and all these other guys get in this game that they're gonna play a wild game of Monopoly. Stay off that chessboard. It's not your lane. You know what I'm saying? Buy a little bit into the projects that we talk about. Look at the case uses. You know, just a couple coins and a couple projects will make you way more money than what Bitcoin will make you. You are not playing with the money that they are. I mean, this guy had over $900 billion on his last quarter. Just that was off of Bitcoin. His cars, his spaceships, none of the shit generated no money. I know for a fact, right around March, he was telling everybody, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, as he was accumulating and selling. So keep dollar cost averaging in and keep funding space exploration, artificial intelligence, human demise. Keep funding that because that's what Bitcoin's about. I'm over it. But do your own research, right? When you invest in Bitcoin, what are you doing? What is it? What benefit is it for you? What's it solving? Don't we always invest in something that usually solves a problem? Is that not why we invest in blue chip stocks? Because they're the best of the best. Bitcoin Ethereum is a new meme coin. This is what we're running with the university. I urge you guys to run with the same campaign when you're out there. Everyone's allowed to use it. Bitcoin and Ethereum are meme coins. And because you have the knowledge, dispute it, have a conversation with somebody about it. But shit, we know half these people don't even have wallets, man. So if you're buying from Coinbase and Robinhood, then we don't speak the same language because you don't know enough of the projects. Champ and I look at all projects, all sectors with a clear vision of everything. Even if it's an XRP competitor, we know who that particular company is. And we know what they serve for, and we hold the project also. There's enough space for a lot of people in this game, guys. But I'm just telling you, if you look, if this was a chessboard and there was a king piece on here, who's king? Based on what you know right now. But the general public would say, 34 cents versus 20,000. Everybody always go with the 20K. That's like if you ask these young kids nowadays, does young Thugger have more money than Bill Gates? They probably say Thugger does. They don't have a great enough. And I've had this conversation in the past with people, you know, peers, sons, and I'm like, bro, you're not, no, Rick, no, he doesn't, no, that's not wealth. But they don't know, you know, to them, it's like, holy shit, Rick Ross's house, you know, they see this thing. It's like, no, it's not, that's not even it. That ain't it. That's why, and you see what Rick Ross is doing with his home, not to sidestep off of it, but he does car shows, he does tours. That motherfucker treat that shit like a museum because when Evander Holyfield owned that property, it cost $80,000 just to landscape the shit every month. That dude is hustling from his house. It's a museum. Come visit me. Or come visit the house.
Farm animals, getting tax breaks and
all that.
Yeah.
Pet farm, man, he could come outside during the morning and man, that guy is making so much money on that property because he has to do that to offset the cost of what you know, of what that bill is for a house that size. And look at what Donald Trump just did with his golf course by burying his ex-wife there.
Cemetery.
Yeah, if you want to just put that article, we're not even going to go into it, but just showing you guys that, you know, really Bitcoin, Ethereum, and these guys are like sidestepping certain things. Let's just start progressing this conversation a little bit because we will be behind again. You know what I'm saying? Show me another industry that can that can level this playing field. And when I say level, I'm not saying equal, because we all equally won't, understand the data the same way. Some of us will take off and go heavy. Some might dip our toes, and some will say, you know what, I'll wait. And you'll be buying these shits at $100, $200. But the good part about these recordings is they live. And I don't know how long with YouTube, I'm gonna be honest with you. I got people hitting me talking about they can't keep notifications on for us when we drop new videos. I don't know what the fuck that's about. I mean, I know what it's about, but shit done.
Right.
So this is the part where I want the mass adoption. I'm ready for Web3 because I'm tired of centralized systems telling you what you can and can't do. And it's your data. And then you got the federal government that's going to hit us with the social credit system that's going to like really control all you do. Yo, y'all gotta pay. I gotta wake up, man. This shit gonna be sad. I'm telling you. I'm not telling you not to dollar cost average in either, Bob. That's not what I'm saying. I'm giving you a perspective. This is why we do Dot Connect Wednesdays, to give you a perspective. Anybody that you tell this to will look at you like you're crazy. From the most informed to the uninformed, they would all say the same thing. We know what we're talking about. I have yet to speak to somebody that loves Bitcoin that can tell me what the fuck it does. Doesn't that sound like Dogecoin? I mean, let's think about it. Doesn't that sound like Dogecoin copied the Bitcoin coding?
Mm-hmm.
How open source it is, guys. You can create a coin in less than a token in less than a few seconds, just by copying the source code, pasting it, creating your name, and then now you have a coin. So it has no case use. So why are these guys so hell bent on this thing? And they don't know who owns it. So why didn't they pick Dogecoin? Why didn't they pick SafeMoon? Because they know who owns that. So with the federal government allowing ETFs to be put on the exchanges for institutional guys to start buying ETH ETFs, Bitcoin ETFs, tells you that this is a federal government product, period. It's a product controlled by the federal government. You gave them clarity. How? That SEC, that organization, that branch, it will probably not be here when this is all said and done. It's horrible. But they're going to prop those two up. So that's why I'm telling you, don't let me stop your shine and be like, oh man, the shit went to 100. It's going to go to 100, guys. They're going to run that Bitcoin up. But then I don't know, because these legs, that we know that there's something that's going to kick the legs out from under the shit.
That's that tether relationship.
Right.
And they looking bad right now.
How many more talking points we had today?
That was it.
All right, well, we had 1 hour sharp, so we just drop this. You want to outro them and then stay on, guys. So we want to fill your questions. Actually, anybody have questions, so that way it can be recorded.
Any questions? Any questions? Which would you say is the most secure / trusted to hold our crypto?
And I don't know, bro.
Devon. Oh, which wallet? Cold storage. Just period.
He's just asking which one. So listen, Ledger is the most widely used, the one that everybody knows. But if I had to guess, with all the shit that Ledger's doing, actually, I just pulled some XRP off of them, and I bought over to my SafePal wallet. So my top 3 wallets that I use: SafePal, Ledger, and Decent. And the reason I like to just keep a bunch of different ones is because I don't know what the fuck could happen, guys. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to be tied up either by one company. You know, if I could swallow the coins, I would. But you know that this is digital. Just cold storage. Dollar cost averaging and things that you really understand Because you're only doing it because of all the news that's behind it, guys. This news has not been feeding us anything positive ever in history. Whatever they tell you, do the opposite. It's been working for me. And they're not, they're not going to give you an apology tour either. This is really the last run before the regulations, guys. Like what they about to do to ETH and Bitcoin and all that is really the last grab, because in the world that we live in today, Elon Musk gets brought in on charges. You know what I'm saying? The guy is clearly manipulating the price of an asset, but it's not. There's no rules or regulations around it. So what are you gonna do? You know, like they know he's smart enough to be like, I ain't showing up. Y'all crazy. But when the rules and regulations come, they're not going to be able to play this game like this. But what they are doing is they're conditioning you to understand who the big two are. And Champ and I have been telling you this from the beginning. I do not see them. They're altcoins to me.
They're gonna become altcoins. I'm telling you, this is a fact. Pure fact on record.
Bitcoin will have a lot of money flowing through it because it's just going to be about bad actors who's doing the fucking most. Right. So when you have billions of dollars in something and you get a 5 or 10% swing, that's a lot of money in one transaction, especially if you can control it on both ends. You know what I'm saying? If I had it with them guys, and who knows, man, maybe I'll joust with them when this mass adoption comes, you know, throw a couple things at it. But you got to be smart with it. That shit,
yeah,
that shit is a $20,000 stable coin right now. It cannot move for some reason. So what's happening? Shit don't look weird to y'all? Them numbers not real. I'm telling you, that's just manipulated. Champ put me on to some shit where he was like, yo, coin market cap is a pay-for-play company. People were paying them.
Mm-hmm.
Like shit. So you don't think JP got a line? They can make that price look like whatever they want it to look like instantly. They buy over the counter. It's ain't calculated. Shit is a house of cards, guys. I'm in crypto because I see the future in it. You know what I mean? All this other shit, man, it was difficult when the NFTs were around. Now that it's cleared up, I'm like, damn, now there's always going to be a clown at the circus. We just have to identify who the clown is. And the clown is Bitcoin and Ethereum, period.
Facts.
I'm on record. We will make money with it. They will run the shit up. So let's not say, yo, Steve told me not to buy it. Do what you do your own research. Champ and I are just giving you guys our perspective. Bitcoin, Ethereum, me once. Ended with that.